The fact TLC used to be called the Learning Channel feels like the perfect encapsulating story to describe the downfall of cable television.
Welcome to Labor Games.
Oh my.
Is this crazy?
In the past 15 years, TLC has gone from one of the most forgetful channels in your basic cable package to one of the most brain-rotting exploitative channels on TV. Like other channels such as the History Channel or Music Television, MTV, TLC seems to be in a long line of channels that abandoned their original content niche. Like, what do I learn from watching this?
I eat fiber supplements so I can go number 2 as fast as I go number 1.
TLC was created to empower underserved communities, but the channel seems to have fallen so far as to exploit the very people it was originally created to serve. Once upon a time, the Learning Channel strived to create access for both college and career education. Through both local and federal partnerships, the Learning Channel created educational content with real-world results, hoping to be a warm beacon of light in the cold, wet, dank television landscape.
An educated citizenry has always been the bedrock of this country.
TLC slipping into degeneracy has much to do with the decline of cable TV, as it has to do with the fall of publicly funded television and education. Yeah, this is Billiam.
Welcome to the TLC Deep Dive 2.0, the definitive edition, now told in 3 chapters. In chapter 1, we're going to tell the story of TLC's beginnings as the Learning Channel, which truly tried to help and educate people before it became the slop hub it is today. The kind of place where you will see somebody upend their lives over some obsession like having to own the most Mickey Mouse.
Mickey is my mouse friend, and I'm his girlfriend.
And in chapter 2, we'll see how the Learning Channel mutated into the Lying Channel, with shows like Breaking Amish obviously being staged.
We're going cell phone shopping. Are you serious? We're gonna text all day long. What is texting?
The leaks have confirmed it. She always knew what texting was the entire time. Finally, in the final chapter of this saga, we'll dive into the TLC iceberg as we take a look at the most well-known, controversial, obscure, and absurd shows TLC has ever made.
We are definitely not sister wives, but my ex-husband's sperm is in my wife.
But to begin, we have to go back in time and find out why TLC is called TLC to begin with, along with the complicated story of how the publicly funded Learning Channel fell into the hands of the Discovery Channel,
who lost the channel's identity before discovering how to get TLC to stand out in the crowd. A discovery that was made by destroying a family. John, Kate, their twins, and their sextuplets. This is the story of how the Learning Channel covertly became TLC.
You're watching the Learning Channel.
The birth of TLC begins with the birth of satellite television. By the early 1960s, new breakthroughs in orbital and radio technologies began to create a lot of potential to expand communication capabilities across the world. Geostationary satellites follow the rotation of the Earth, enabling global communication and consistent broadcast coverage for an entire geographic region. Improving radio technologies enabled high-quality color television broadcasts to be sent from space. From 1966 to 1974, NASA launched 6 experimental satellites dubbed the Application Technology Satellites. ATS-1 is a fucking celebrity. This dude took some of the first cloud-covered images of Earth's entire body. Obviously from one two-dimensional perspective, this is called the disk of Earth, but it was also used to connect the United States to the famous Our World television program, coordinated with 26 different countries in 1967. In that same year, ATS-3, 2 years before the moon landing, provided the first color images of Earth. But this story is about the final satellite of the program, ATS-6, arriving in 1974.
The NASA ATS-6.
With the express purpose of the satellite being for delivering high-quality educational content.
One of the remarkable features of this satellite was the 10-meter paraboloid antenna.
Alaska received televised medical information. In the Rocky Mountains, junior high school students received career education, and in the Appalachian region, televised graduate-level courses were accessed via sites across the region accredited by partnering institutions. All of these places were, and some still are, considered to be education deserts, places lacking options for career training and community college level education. But with satellite technology, these communities can be easily served. Each class was a 30-minute produced lecture that included take-home audio materials that the students could use as homework. The program was a success, but NASA had plans to move the ATS satellite to help the Indian space program develop their own. So the Appalachian Regional Commission, a partnership between counties in the Appalachian region and the federal government, had purchased the broadcast channels NASA had been using along with services from a commercial satellite company. The Appalachian Community Service Network incorporated into a private nonprofit TV channel and continued to receive support from the ARC and the U.S. Office of Education. By 1982, ACSN had turned into the American Community Service Network, subtitled The Learning Channel. ACSN provided over 3,300 hours of programming annually to the entire country, with 70 accredited partners offering educational programs from GEDs to graduate level courses. That's right, you used to actually be able to educate yourself by watching TLC. Now you realized American education failed by watching TLC. By 1982, the channel had achieved national syndication. Quote, programs included workshops and special offerings to serve a growing constituency in the fields of health, business, and social services, which takes full advantage of television, radio, tape recordings, and cinema techniques. Programs will be made available to all citizens with an emphasis placed on the needs of underserved populations in rural and non-metropolitan areas. However, despite the success, the Appalachian Regional Commission quickly realized they did not have the resources to produce and serve content to a national audience. And thus, by 1986, the Appalachian Regional Commission sold their stake of the Learning Channel to Infotech Television. Still, the channel strived to create educational content in a sea of uneducated drivel. The TLC chairman and CEO had a strong statement to the public on what the mission of TLC was in 1990.
Any society that believes that it can be both free and ignorant believes in what never was nor ever will be.
Despite being owned by a profit-driven company, the Learning Channel believed they were providing a service still. But even almost a decade into the Learning Channel, they were only taking in about $1 million in profit annually, showing that their growth was not necessarily driven by a profit motive. But by 1991, financial pressures would cause the channel to collapse. With the loss of their public funding, Infotech had to sell their assets in order to pay off creditors. And in a purchase that shocked the industry, the Discovery Channel, then a small player in the game, would purchase the Learning Channel. A few months after the purchase, in April of 1991, Variety reported, Discovery's chairman and CEO, John Hendricks, says the plan is to build TLC into television's foremost educational tool. Some of the first shows aired under Discovery's TLC included Great Books, which aired in 1993 and featured creative people like George Lucas being interviewed about the impact of literary classics. Paleo World from 1994 is a series about paleontologists and dinosaurs. I saw Paleo World, but not as Paleo World, but as a re-edited version for kids called Boneheads, Detectives of the Paleo World. I vividly remember renting a VHS tape of this show when I was a kid, and I spent years looking for this. The only way I could think to describe the show was it had two young hosts, and I'm not the only one who spent years looking for it. Quite a few episodes of this show are lost media, so if you have copies of them, you might just help the public make this show complete. New TLC produced basic cooking and gardening shows, along with some less sensational dips into the unscripted reality show format, as TLC rebranded once again with the slogan Life Unscripted. A baby story, a wedding story, a makeover story, a dating story, all have storylines you could easily imagine. But then it did quickly get weird and sensational.
In the old days, I'd be king of the harem.
And I'd be a fertility goddess.
Discovery Channel had Shark Week, but TLC had Alien Invasion Week. One of their most popular programs from the 90s was The Human Animal and was an up-close documentary look at sex. Human sex, and it'll be burned into my mind forever. I saw a fully erect penis on the thermal camera. Caught on the thermal cam. TLC, thermal lit. The whole show is narrated by a guy trying to act objective, looking at the human animal as if he were an outside observer.
Anatomically, the human animal is unusual to say the least. Its lack of hair is unique among primates.
I saw the most detailed nipple under a macro lens. I saw an internal camera witnessing the female orgasm and its function in reproduction. It has one. I've witnessed sperm working together to kill rival sperm so the chosen ones may get into the egg. Somebody got pregnant to film this. Lips kissing uncensored and on YouTube. There's a titty in the thumbnail. Are you learning now? I can't unlearn it. Admittedly, TLC did censor some of this in America, but Europe aired it as is. Though I was much more shocked to see real crime scene photos on forensics files, which yes, did start on TLC. Trauma Life in the ER was marketed as the real life version of the drama ER.
The dashing doctors of the ER.
Single gunshot wound to the right.
He's no George Clooney.
You mean me?
He's better.
And would not shy away from filming blood, gore, and actual death. There was good content sprinkled in there for sure, but quickly the definition of what learning was widened. Sure, these programs could be seen as informative, but it was clear that sensationalism had overcome education as the channel's priority. Discovery's first major step in creating a new brand for TLC was the premiere of Ready, Set, Learn in 1992. Ready, Set, Learn was a programming block targeting children 2 to 6, featuring commercial-free programming with musical segments between shows hosted by children's entertainer Rory Zuckerman. Rory, a mother herself, was quickly hired by TLC executive John Ford when he saw her rapport with children attending her live musical show, and I understand why immediately. Rory would sing alongside her puppet hosts Reddy, Duncan, and Buster the Alligator. Watching old clips, Rory genuinely seems to have a charismatic spirit perfect for children's entertainment, bringing a very sincere musical sensibility to the songs she writes and performs. In interviews, Rory was very passionate about her place within the world of children's entertainment. In regards to her kids, she said, "I'm pretty particular about what they can watch. I think kids are very heavily influenced by what they see. Some stuff that my little one sometimes will flip around to is so inappropriate that I immediately make him change it. I wish I could always be there to see it." Initially under Discovery, TLC wanted to make content for all ages and have this family-friendly image except for the sex show. And Rory would eventually get her own program, Rory's World, many episodes of which are now considered to be lost media. But to many, she remains one of the most prominent figures in the channel's history. At the beginning of Ready, Set, Learn, TLC imported a lot of shows, including the Canadian-made Book Mice. I am so fucking happy to talk about Book Mice. It's a Canadian-made show about mice living in the public library, and the theme song sounds a lot like DuckTales. And it reminds me a lot of PBS's Between the Lions, which would air quite a few years later. I wish puppets were still a big thing. That's what I've learned today. Also in Canada, Beakman's World aired on TLC in September of '92. It's a wacky science education show with a vibrant, high sensory set, the perfect environment to make science fun. And interestingly, it's actually a predecessor to Bill Nye the Science Guy, which would air the next September in '93. Early on, there were a lot of strange Eastern European cartoons between shows, which I always vibe with, but JJ the Jet Plane, that was all TLC. Even though most people remember this show to have aired on PBS, it actually aired on TLC a few years earlier. But what a lot of people don't know about this aerodynamic, unholy beast that wears the face of your unborn child is it started as a popular VHS tape. My mouth dropped when I saw JJ's beta design. How can you look 1 month old and 77 years old at the same time? The videotape was created in 1994 and used real model planes inspired by Thomas the Tank Engine. But Thomas and friends don't have fleshy colored faces. They're not human. What experiment created these things? And they act like Savannah, the jet, is supposed to be sexy.
Seeing you here tonight brings to mind,
She bats her eyelashes at him.
Shucks, this speech is boring.
You don't choke on your words when you're talking about an airplane.
Thanks, Easy. You're still sweet as sugar cane, she said.
TLC's CGI update of JJ is famously off-putting. The helicopter is the ugliest 3D model ever made, and that is saying something. The helicopter looked way better in the old version, and Savannah the Jet is no longer sexy. She was never sexy. Stupid me. Come 2003, Ready, Set, Learn rebranded itself and got a new little animated host who I love, Paz the Penguin, alongside a lot of new shows like Peep in the Big Wide World and the Jim Henson Company produced Animal Jam. But a lot of shows of this era would actually be shifted to Discovery Kids. They were sort of competing with themselves now. So hot take, like, a ridiculously hot take, but I think Bozark from Animal Jam is the coolest Muppet ever, or at least the coolest Muppet at this very moment. And although he's not a Muppet, Hip Hop Harry gave him a run for his money. He showed up in 2006 giving us bangers like Go, 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 Who's Next? Where Hip Hop Harry gets outdanced by all these children doing the sickest moves you've ever seen. Just doing flips and shit all the time. Who's next? Hip Hop Harry's the most intense hype beast I've ever seen.
Water's just what I need.
You're welcome. Pass him down.
Okay, that was just a little weird, Harry. I won't lie to you. Oh, whoa, he's dancing with Snoop Dogg on Twitter. TLC in the early 2000s was a place for makeovers. Whether it was your ugly house or your ugly style, TLC was there to make it worse. All with the confidence that they know what's hot and what's not. TLC adapted What Not to Wear, originally a British show, which taught people how to dress and how to throw out their old looks. No wonder why people who grew up watching this hate themselves.
And she's binned those sexless aging clothes in favor of something infinitely more flattering.
At least they weren't literally putting people in glass boxes for the public to gawk at like on 10 Years Younger.
How old do you think Faylene looks?
60 or so.
Another popular makeover show was the BBC's Changing Room, and TLC would turn it into trading spaces. Neighbors redesign each other's houses with assistance from designers who are just so quirky.
Open your eyes and see what it looks like.
Oh my God.
Hay all along the walls with a vibrant pink ceiling.
I'm glad you could tell it was straw, because we weren't sure you'd even know for sure what it was. It's straw. It's straw. It's straw.
They really hate it because that is the normal response to this. I really love how awful some of these redesigns look. I think $1,000 was just the right price to get people to be bold with their redesigns but not have enough money to go through with anything. They should have given them $100. The restraint would have made things better. Like some new paint, a couple extra tchotchkes, a lamp. Sometimes that's all you need to pull a room together. I'd watch a 45-minute program that climaxes with a new lamp. That's pretty much what it was.
I'm gonna have to leave the room now. You're that disappointed?
Well,
I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, that's... Boy, she's not happy. She's really not happy.
Robotica was a popular robotic battle competition show, but then Take Home Chef features a chef approaching women at the supermarket and going home with them, and his crew of 20 plus people, all to make a nice little meal. I think at this point they were starting to have an identity crisis. But TLC struck gold with shows like Say Yes to the Dress, which still airs today alongside Little People Big World, which began a year earlier in 2006. Little People Big World was TLC's first major show documenting a family. The New York Times explained, TLC is billing Little People Big World as the most comprehensive television documentary ever about the lives of little people. Amy Roloff, 43, said in an interview, I'm just a regular person who happens to be little. The biggest concern for the parents was how Zach would be depicted in the series. And now, the show has run for 24 seasons. I'm not sure there's another reality show that follows a family that has run that long. I seriously don't think so. This program, like a lot of other TLC shows, unfortunately has a disturbing side, so if you don't want to hear about a sexual assault incident, please skip to the end of this section. There are chapter markers in the description. Jacob Roloff, who was 9 at the start of the show, would exit for a few reasons, the least of which being he believed his parents were dishonest versions of themselves on the show, very typical of TLC's reality shows. But more importantly, Jacob later admitted that one of the producers on the show assaulted him when he was a child. But with respect to the others involved in the show, there has been nothing but support for his decision from his family, TLC, and the fans of the show. Yet I keep finding myself wishing he just was never put in that position in the first place. Very quickly, under Discovery, TLC had kind of lost its identity, airing shows similar to those airing on History, A&E, PBS Kids, and even other Discovery-owned channels. There were definitely things that worked for them, but nothing really anchored the channel. In 2004, the news cycle became fascinated by Kate Gosselin, who, with her husband John, were expecting sextuplets, as in Kate was pregnant with 6 kids at once. The public fascination led to the family being approached by Discovery Health to film a 1-hour documentary, Surviving Sextuplets and Twins, which aired in 2006. Yet, as quickly as the producers were let in the door, they would push another agenda. The special with John and Kate was Discovery Health's biggest program, so the Discovery quickly got the family to accept filming a full-time reality show, which would move to TLC, John and Kate plus 8.
She was probably, I'm sorry, can you stop breathing so loud, honey?
He's okay.
Going from a channel that was in 20 million homes to a channel that was in 90 million homes, skyrocketing the family into fame. John, Kate, and their children were now celebrities, and people were obsessed with the dynamic of the couple. Millions of people were tuning in every week to catch a glimpse of this seemingly perfect family somehow able to raise 8 children, which made the idea of them having marital problems all the more interesting. Tabloids began reporting on rumors that John had been unfaithful. Speculations of their divorce were quickly on the rise. Headlines were screaming John is sleeping with a school teacher, making Kate into a victim left to raise 8 kids without John. People were engrossed in their drama, which all led to the final season of the show. The finale of the season, where they announced their divorce, received 9.8 million viewers, which is crazy for basic cable. This was twice the amount of the series' previous ratings high. The audience liked the family, but they loved the divorce. However, viewers were being fed a delayed narrative. During the middle of season 4, John and Kate had already separated, but viewers were watching them renew their vows in Hawaii. John wanted his family to walk away from the show, but Kate and TLC disagreed and waged a media war against him, painting John as this erratic person for turning down so much money. The network allegedly offered John $1 million to continue to pretend to be married to his ex-wife. According to John, he even received expressed permission from Kate that if they were to do this, that he would be allowed to see other people, all for the sake of the show. He turned them down, so TLC let the entire world believe that he was a cheater. But in reality, he just wasn't allowed to reveal their separation because it was John and Kate plus 8 spoilers. His own life. Spoilers. But that didn't stop the rest of the media from preemptively attacking him. Both parents had different ideas about the show in regard to their children. John, on Larry King, would claim that he had an epiphany about the production.
I had an epiphany one day. I just looked in the mirror and I said, I don't want to be this person anymore. I don't want them to film anymore. I don't think it's healthy for them. And the reason I don't think it's healthy for them is that we're going through a divorce right now. And I don't think it should be televised. And I think my kids should be taken off the show.
TLC sued Jon Gosselin in October of 2009, claiming he failed to meet his obligations as an exclusive employee of the network, making unauthorized public disclosures about the show, which they described as erratic behavior.
TLC issued this statement, remained deeply disappointed at his continued erratic behavior, and his latest comments are grossly inaccurate, without merit, and clearly opportunistic. Despite Jon Gosselin's repeated self-destructive and unprofessional actions, he remains under exclusive contract with TLC.
Gosselin filed a countersuit claiming TLC violated Pennsylvania's child labor laws in filming John and Kate plus 8, and he publicly posted a sign on the gate of his home saying no film crew or production staff from TLC is permitted on this property under penalty of trespass. He thought the process was bad for his kids, and the family already made a really good chunk of change. But as a couple, John and Kate were apparently pulling in over $180 million a quarter for TLC, a big leap for the company that was once struggling to make $1 million annually. Even Kate's family was speaking out against her actions. Her brother and sister-in-law claimed they both believed filming of the children was exploitation. Her own family. TLC funded Kate's divorce lawyers, guaranteeing her win of custody, and John lost his own lawsuit and was put under a 10-year gag order, silencing him, all while Kate plus 8 would continue, with Kate now painted as an independent media personality. She would make media rounds constantly just to let everyone know nothing was really going on. I think Joy Barr's nihilistic take on The View really helps encapsulate the entire situation.
Now you're winning the PR wars because of this story about the baby.
babysitter.
I'm not really
and
out
also
to win
coming on the
any
show and being
awards.
sweet.
I see what you're saying. I'm not out to win any awards.
This family's entire dissolution, a PR battle. At least Joy Barr seems to be pretty open about the fact that TLC was waging war against one of their ex-employees. Taylor Swift even played Kate on SNL.
Hi.
Doing a bit about her press rounds.
Actually, that's right. I'm doing lots of press.
And after his gag order was lifted, John had some comments about what he believed Kate's pop culture impact to be.
She's the Karen meme. She is the, hello?
Haha, you are so funny. Actually, you know what else is funny? How I got this hairstyle.
The newly single mother and her 8 children would remain in the limelight. After Kate's appearance on Dancing with the Stars, her partner Tony revealed to Anderson Cooper that Kate was controlling and demeaning during their rehearsals. He walked out several times and had to go to therapy after the show, and he's not the only one claiming to have needed therapy after being around Kate. Recently, her son Colin Gosselin, one of the sextuplets who isn't on speaking terms with his mother, told Entertainment Tonight how she wrongfully institutionalized him, claiming that he has special needs, even though he was never diagnosed with anything. According to Colin, he just didn't want to film anymore. After discovering where Colin was, John would be granted emergency custody of both Colin and his sister Hannah, who decided she didn't want to be around her mother anymore after finding out where her brother was for 3 years, which apparently was kept from the rest of the family. John, Hannah, and Colin have recently opened up to Vice in an interview. He just didn't want to film anymore. All this news sparked new tabloids accusing Kate of being an abusive mother, which she firmly denies.
I've been investigated many times. It's always unfounded, obviously.
So they're all unfounded?
Yes, absolutely.
In 2011, due to the controversy surrounding Colin, TLC would ultimately cancel Kate Plus 8, leaving Kate alone to capitalize on her celebrity for years. She tried going on multiple reality programs, including Celebrity Apprentice.
I really feel it's your time, Kate. You're fired.
It's very sad to see that the family's story is still being used in this publicized battle. Nonetheless, the destruction of the Gosselin family gave TLC a formula to copy. More big families that the audience would watch waiting to blow up, like Lightning McQueen crashing in Cars 3. It's just inevitable. At Discovery Health, the family was tapped for reality TV by executive Eileen O'Neill. O'Neill holds a master's in pop culture studies from Bowling Green University, so that kind of tells you how critical health was to Discovery Health. After John and Kate began, Eileen O'Neill would be promoted internally at Discovery to head the much larger TLC, where she would continue to bring powerhouse shows to the network like Honey Boo Boo and Breaking Amish. But despite the network making $180 million a quarter, the family was only paid just over $20,000 an episode. Keep in mind, this show was exploding in popularity during the 2007 to 2008 Hollywood writer's strike. While written content suffered, reality shows exploded with success. In a 2013 Washington Post article regarding Honey Boo Boo, Eileen O'Neill was asked what worries her about her channel at 3 a.m. Ratings, she admitted. I wonder how she feels about the divorce since it got such good ratings. She can't have her cake and eat it too. But we wouldn't really know how she feels because at the time, the head of PR at TLC had a strict no comment policy that the channel has seemed to continue with. They want this crazy content to speak for itself. In 2011, the current Warner Brother Discovery CEO, David Zaslav, then head of just regular old Discovery pre-merger, announced Eileen would also be given the job to oversee Discovery and TLC together as a group president. TLC was once an educational aid created for those who didn't have access to it. Now it's exploited the lives of so many people for the sake of brand recognition. When promoted in 2011, O'Neill said of her job to Adweek, "One of my favorite challenges is to find those great characters that people will love or hate, and those great stories that keep you engaged across all platforms. We are thrilled to create these shows and to be a part of the pop culture zeitgeist." Around the world, TLC was known as Discovery Travel and Living and later rebranded to TLC, the Travel and Living channel. To so many people around the world and now in America, they had no idea TLC was ever even called the Learning Channel. It's just this zany part of American pop culture. Although O'Neill has since left Discovery, now David Zaslav has since been put in charge of even more of Hollywood. After turning Discovery, one of the smallest players in the entertainment industry, industry into one of the largest media corporations publicly traded today, all by exploiting talent and having no regard for the channel's reputation. And it's all because people can't look away from car wrecks. Ka-chow! John and Kate +8 helped TLC strike gold because the family was truly living a soap opera. And a lot of that story was seen outside of the show while the show was being covered by the media. The ratings naturally responded to the epic saga, but truth be told, most people's lives just aren't dramatic enough to create interesting TV week to week, every single week. So it's only natural TLC would have to use some age-old reality television production techniques, commonly known as lying. TLC has lied to its audience, ruined the lives of much of its cast, and aired some of the most egregiously fake content on TV. However, some of TLC's greatest hits risk fading into obscurity because they do not include them on their streaming platforms. Like, how could you want to deny the cinematic beauty that is Sex Sent Me to the ER?
The vacuum hose was attached to his penis. We gotta cut it off. My penis!
You just shouldn't have put a vacuum there, buddy. The channel has been around for more than 40 years, but for most of its existence, its brand has been allegedly unscripted content.
Dude, this is a freaking awesome way to communicate.
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna text Rebecca and see what she's up to.
It would literally be impossible to uncover all of TLC's, quote, lies, because all reality shows use some sort of staging techniques. On a spectrum of truthfulness, these kinds of things could range anywhere from being, you know, kind of honest to a situation that happened off camera that they're just gonna reenact for the camera, to being completely fabricated from scratch. But consider this. The Long Island medium has been accused of not actually being psychic and taking advantage of those mourning their loved ones. Extreme couponing has been accused of fraud. And in My Husband Is Not Gay, I'd have to say, the husband seems pretty gay. So sit back, turn your brain off so you're susceptible to be lied to as we uncover all of those lies. To me, Breaking Amish is a great example of TLC's problems. It was presented as an insightful and open look at the lives of 4 young Amish people and 1 Mennonite as they leave their low-tech and isolated farming communities to live in New York City for 6 weeks.
He was staring at us like we were stupid.
Holy shit, is that Catman Charlie on the B-roll? What would the Amish even say about that?
Pilgrims are here.
Don't ever f***ing film me, I'm gonna kick the shit.
Day to day, we follow their lives as they react to technology that is very normal to the viewers at home. Apparently, they've never seen a washing machine or a cell phone. They think technology is crazy, and the viewers at home thought this show was crazy too, with the first episode having over 3 million viewers. Great numbers for TLC. Viewers wanted to see these characters reacting to the modern world, breaking taboos of their society, such as using an elevator or an escalator.
They call it lazy steps or something?
There's Kate, a bishop's daughter who wants to pursue another job besides the male-only Amish-approved jobs of construction, masonry, and farming. She doesn't want to be a housewife. She wants to be a model, meeting up with agencies while trying to forget about her past troubles, leading to this kind of unhinged villain character.
Crazy Kate is coming out of her box. I can finally be crazy.
Apparently, at one point, Kate wakes Sabrina up in the middle of the night and calls her a witch. Kate's like, Sabrina, you're evil. And Sabrina's like, Kate, you need to fucking chill. Sabrina is an adopted Mennonite who looks for her biological parents through a private investigator, only to discover her adoptive parents kept secrets from her.
Found out that she accused me of witchcraft. I'm like, what? She was talking about scary monsters and laughing in this really weird way.
No footage is ever found of the witch incident. Kate insists it didn't happen, but Sabrina is convinced it did. It's Amish lost media, or the producers were gaslighting them. Rebecca is the youngest of the group, unable to participate in a lot of the drunken parties of the rest of the cast, but she hates drunk people anyways.
All they do is laugh, like...
She seeks life-changing dental work after untrained Amish surgeons messed up her teeth really badly.
I give you a grandma smile.
Abe is just a guy with a trampoline and wants to see what kind of work he can get with his education while falling for Rebecca.
She's hot. Dang, you look hot.
Clothes, her shape popped out. Man, it was... wow.
Will they or won't they? Finally, Jeremiah is just a horrible guy who drools over women and wants to become a New York City taxi driver, cause it's always been his dream. He drinks and tries to f around, but he gets really mad when the girls try to do the same thing.
You guys wanna act like sluts, go for it. That's what it is.
Wait, what?
Nothing.
If I was a slut, I would have you by now, and I didn't.
Yikes.
I was like,
From the beginning, he has the attitude of a villain, playing the role well.
Very first impression of Abe was this is some very weird, weak Amish kid who never really had to work.
Jeremiah can't just stop fueling the flames on every little fire he sees. It seems like he could be the one everybody hates.
You guys want to act like sluts? Go for it.
Their families have a variety of opinions about appearing on the show. Many of their families won't approve of being on camera, and some won't get anywhere near the camera, being absent the entire time. But Abe's mother ventures into New York to tell her son how she feels about his decisions.
You'll never fit in.
Damn, she's just being a real fucking hater. But apparently she actually takes some heat in the Amish community for sticking up for her son, so she's actually kind of a real one. This story was incredibly interesting for people outside the Amish community, and the Amish community didn't watch it, not believing in the evils of basic cable. Maybe they're onto something. Viewers were hoping to get a candid glimpse into these people's lives, but the best twist of all time came out when it turned out every single person on the show was lying. They had all left their Amish lives years ago and were wholly aware of the outside world. Kate had been submitting to casting websites, drove a car, got a DUI, and was working at a Ruby Tuesdays in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. When asked by a fan on Twitter about her crazy Kate scenes in season 1, Kate replied, "The producers told me I was too boring and threatened to kick me off the show, so I did something to make them stop pressuring." Crazy Kate was never real, and Abe and Rebecca, who fall in love throughout the first season, actually already knew each other. They were already married and had a kid. Sabrina was also living a regular life outside of her community. She had a non-traditional wedding, and this isn't even the first time she appeared on Amish-themed TV programming. But it turns out Jeremiah actually is like the worst person ever. There's this one scene where he says he doesn't know who Slash, the guitarist from Guns N' Roses, is. It seems like such a perfectly innocent thing that even amongst all these lies could be true. But it turns out he actually loves Slash and Guns N' Roses. Jeremiah's ex-wife accused him of abuse, telling Jezebel during the show's airing that he had left the Amish community 10 years before the show started. 10. I had to laugh when he claimed he never owned a cell phone. He's had one for as long as I've known him. She also says he loves Guns N' Roses and Eminem. Naturally. He frequents strip clubs and was always known as the guy with the coolest cars. Which is wild when you consider so many episodes of this show feature him trying to get his driver's license. When the cast's pasts were all brought to light, they tried to address it directly in the show, but this just was a mask off moment for me. There's no way these scenarios aren't scripted. First, Rebecca is tipped off anonymously that Kate has some mail downstairs and discovers her real life DUI. A bombshell. Then in the next episode, Jeremiah threatens to expose Abe and Rebecca for their past without mentioning their kid. That's a step too far. But they use the show's own lies for drama. These accidental discoveries and blackmail storylines absolutely do not give me confidence that this show wasn't just making it all up. The way the show addresses it seems to only be tackling these issues, these lies, from the perspective that viewers vaguely heard about it, but didn't know the details. But I'm gonna go ahead and assume they knew the details. Rebecca getting her new teeth and other real moments like Sabrina getting in contact with her father feels genuine, but still, these are scenarios the network probably helped connect them with, not documentation of their real lives. It's a construction with sprinkles of reality on top. Despite much of the audience becoming aware of the dishonest parts of the show, Breaking Amish got a few spin-offs, including Breaking Amish, Brave New World, and Return to Amish. This is a great example of how shameless the network is. I mean, asking your audience to follow along all of these characters they have been lied to about is a wild pitch for a show, and we will dive more into the follow-ups in the next video. Once you realize there's manipulation to both sweeten and create the drama, it becomes pretty apparent that most of these shows probably use similar techniques, combining scripted and unscripted scenes to create a sort of surreality. Shows like Mythbusters will script short scenes to set up the unscripted material, but that's all it is, setup. However, I've heard more dramatic unscripted shows will often ask their cast members to reenact arguments they've had off camera, which no doubt would just reignite those arguments for good content. The surreal part comes that this is a product they are trying to sell us on being real, but very frequently that illusion breaks. But Sex Sent Me to the ER is 1000% real.
There's only one option. We gotta cut it off.
My penis!
The show is about people who mess up sex so badly, they have to go to the emergency room.
Unchain me. These mortals.
No, it's Dr. Panachek.
This show blatantly uses reenactments. I really don't think they're trying to fool the audience. They're just making a cartoon.
And why on earth is there nitro paste on her vagina?
Well, after some awkward question and answers, the truth is eventually revealed. This couple tried to have a quickie during a funeral, his father's funeral. In a flashback also reenacted, she explains to her husband she's ovulating at his father's funeral, and if they want to have kids, they need to have sex right now.
Seriously, what are you doing?
I'm ovulating.
Just because your dad is dead doesn't mean you can't make him proud right now. But he's mourning too much to attain mourning wood, so they improvise, raiding his dead father's medical cabinet and finding nitro paste, his heart medication that helped increase blood flow, which they apply directly to the penis.
Dr. Yo, have you ever heard of anyone using nitro paste on a penis as a sex aid?
No, I haven't. Let's take a look. Whoa.
You're not supposed to do this.
That's not what it should be used for.
The whole room is shaking. I guess that means they're having sex. But she faints and is sent to the ER where the whole family shows up. The guy is so awkward about what happened. He doesn't want to answer questions in front of his family. So the doctor escorts everybody out. But there's one more problem.
My flag is still flying at full mast. Still have an erection?
You still have an erection?
The whole family gawks at his cock. He never puts it away during the rest of the scene. But it turns out you shouldn't put nitro paste on your bits unless you're ready for your mom to find out. The reenactments outside of the hospital can't help but to look like soft porn. Literally, these people act like porn stars. But when they reenact their injuries, it's incredible.
Edward? Please help. My eternal love. Edward, where are you?
Look at the YouTube playback. It's scientifically proven to be the best part of this episode, but the best episode all around is definitely the one where the guy tries to suck himself off with a vacuum cleaner. He is giving the performance of a lifetime.
I know this is embarrassing, Di, but this is testicle life and death.
I love how everyone tries to play it cool, not wanting to give out embarrassing details. But with the vacuum guy, it's like, come on, we all know what happened here.
And trap the penis and the testicle.
Okay, then we step into a show where the editing is the dishonest part. My Strange Addiction and its sister show, My Crazy Obsession, features a hodgepodge of people who have interesting habits, such as having sexual relations with a car or a balloon, but that's not who we're talking about today. This show is weird for sure, but it gets really sad when people are obsessed with doing things that harm themselves, like drinking gasoline. That sweet taste comes at a cost. Yet there's something off about the show that's always apparent. They go out of their way to make people seem depraved, a sentiment shared by many on the show. On Reddit, a few people who have been cast in My Strange Addiction have shared their experience. In one episode, Lauren, who's a part of the furry community, is painted as this depraved, socially inept person who is so obsessed with her hobby that it's affecting her real life, being shown wearing her costume everywhere, hiding behind it. She said, "It was definitely twisted. I have never spent countless hours holed up in my room building costumes, nor do I wear the costumes to family events and cannot see myself in public without it. The editing, music, and narration blurs reality, and the specific language choices pushes the audience toward one conclusion.
There is a darker side to the fandom where it does involve fetishes.
I love the use of the word currently in this episode. Some furries are sexual. Currently, Lauren does not. That is so mean-spirited. Why can't people just have hobbies? In another Reddit thread, a woman describes how TLC basically made her film every day for a week with shit pay so they can make her seem like she was addicted to Pine Sol. The show paints her clearing out a store's stock of cleaner and wearing face masks drenched in Pine Sol, which was not at all representative of reality. People on this show are painted to be unhinged, totally. But on a lighter note, My Crazy Obsession follows people who aren't really hurting themselves, and thus the show tries less to paint it that way. This old couple just loves their cats. They have 9 cats and have created an elaborate path system on their ceiling and in between rooms. Building out these yards and yards of wooden beams cost them tens of thousands of dollars.
Bob and Francis painted the walls and cabinets 42 different colors to stimulate the cat's senses,
which ultimately devalued their home for the sake of their cats. beautiful. Then we have another person who devalued his home with his expensive obsession. This guy spent over $250,000 creating an addition to his home that is an exact replica of the president's Oval Office.
Well, if you want me to be just absolutely honest with you, I think there's a lot of sentimental value here.
Yeah.
There is, and that may not always translate into market price.
His whole house is now worth less than his investment because of his investment.
Do you know $20,000 is how much those 2 doors cost? That is just not anything I expected at all.
He also makes his family dress up as the Kennedys and hires a chauffeur to drive them around the streets of Texas in an authentic convertible owned by John F. Kennedy.
Nothing bad ever happens to the Kennedys.
I've thought a lot about what this guy's intentions are here. Is he a conspiracist retreading the old grounds of the assassination? Is he paying tribute to JFK? Is he mocking JFK? Is he just a fan cosplaying and he's not putting much political thought into it at all? He owns memorabilia from all kinds of presidents. Is this what the undecided voter looks like? Then this woman, like many other people, moved to Florida to be closer to Michael Mouse.
Mickey is my mouse friend and I'm his girlfriend, but I have a husband. So you do the math.
She goes to a Target I think I've actually been to and gets upset when the employees tell her she can't have the Mickey Mouse store display, which is a very common sight around Disney. Walmart and Target will have these huge Disney sections. She even cries at the idea of it being thrown out.
You can't throw away me.
Then this guy dresses up as a baby.
I think about acting like a baby every day.
That's a grown-ass baby. He's got a big chair, an adult-sized crib, and baby toys, and is currently searching for an adult mommy. I keep trying to make a joke about this guy, but I realize I play Nintendo games. I can't make any jokes about adult babies. A lot of people have their one little thing that they love that doesn't really harm anyone. And who knows what the reality of some of these scenes are.
I have to say hello to her and it's okay, but then I said, I need some time alone with him, and she steps out and I can hug him and kiss him.
Okay, actually, she might be harming the Disney World cast members. That's real. Long Island Medium is a show about a psychic medium who lives on Long Island, New York. But I have to say, she doesn't seem to be all that exceptional when it comes to the supernatural.
And, you know, everyone's like, well, there's no scientific proof.
You're gonna do a reading.
Okay.
The big thing we discovered is that her brain is clearly different.
She goes around connecting people to their dead loved ones so they can communicate with each other.
He was a bit of a romantic.
Yeah, he was the ladies' man.
He just started nibbling on my ear. I'm like, get on my ear!
Often, a lot of psychics use the same cold and hot reading techniques. Cold readings are vague guesses that a psychic hopes their audience members will latch onto.
Well, they're pointing out she's shaking her head no, so that's fine. Look, you don't have to acknowledge it. I don't care. I don't care if you believe in what I do.
Trying to convince the audience of it being some kind of psychic perception rather than just a vague guess. Then, hot readings are doing direct research and presenting that as psychic perception. Like through internet research, I psychically determined that the Long Island medium's real name is Teresa Caputo. I'm psychic, yo. She's been called a vulture preying on the vulnerable and has been branded as a fake by private investigators. In a Daily Mail interview, one former fan who attended a live show expressed their disappointment. I was a Teresa Caputo believer and watched every one of her shows. My young daughter died this summer and I needed to believe in something. After tonight, I am no longer a believer. Most of the audience members left defeated and deflated. At the end of the day, I too believe the Long Island medium and other psychics take advantage of those mourning for profit. There's this one clip that illustrates how comfortable Teresa is with lying to people. In this one episode, she disguises herself as this woman's eccentric male coworker. She arrives at the party in disguise and people think she looks f***ing weird.
You left me, I lost my job, I lost my girl.
No way.
Oh my God, they really think that I am a man.
She must have too many yes men in her life and avoided being told that this is a bad idea. Like she totally undermined her surprise appearance at the party. Everyone saw the cameras pointed at the weirdo in the corner.
Because the only thing I'm good at is talking to dead people. And I am a typical Long Island mom.
You're on Long Island. Of course they know it's you. You're giving everybody psychic damage. If you want to hear more about psychics, we did an entire video covering all the different psychic reality TV shows there are. And another one where my partner / the producer, Savannah, talk about our experiences actually visiting psychics. And if you can't get enough of that, you can become a channel member. That's right, become a Billiamaire and see an extended conversation between the two of us as we talk about seeing psychics just like like Teresa Caputo. We're posting exclusive content on the channel membership every month, so check it out if you can. No worries if you can't. But finally, we have extreme couponing, which explores the lives of people who are hardcore couponing. The register is where we get all the drama. Will their many coupons make their overflowing baskets affordable? We watch as $1,000 drops to $5. It's good dopamine, and the coupon kid, he's on it. He sleeps with coupons to protect them. He's obsessive over deals, and he makes his family cut the coupons, all with a mean power trip.
I'm gonna need you to get out of my coupon chair.
Danielle, you need to get out of his coupon chair.
Why? He doesn't
Just
need it
get
all
out.
the time.
Danielle, you need
Can I
to
punch
get
her?
This whole family bows down to this 15-year-old because he spends time to cut out coupons.
It is kind of fun to get a boss around my older sisters. I don't think my parents really care as long as I'm saving money. It's fine with them.
He holds the savings over his family's head, bossing everyone around. He can say things like, I need 2 more coupons to make this deal happen, and he gets all of his sisters to go into a dumpster to go dumpster diving for 2 more coupons. And then after all of that, he has the lamest stash ever. He gets to decide what food they buy because he's the one who tracks the coupons for maximum savings. But his pantry shows the reality of this.
This is my stockpile. Everything in here is worth about $4,500, and I've spent just about $100 on all of it.
This kid is running off of fruit roll-ups, barbecue sauce, relish, fucking tennis balls, and Starbucks canned coffee. Probably squirts the soap on the ground to reduce friction and gain maximum speed, sliding into every room. He's not only saving on groceries, he's saving on time. The haul he gets in this episode is just awful. Like, if this is what his family is eating, he is killing his family. You can't eat just bottles of ranch and Lay's potato chips. I've tried. Everyone on the show has their stockpile of inessential items surrounded by receipts taped to the walls like trophy mounts to commemorate their abundance of shampoo, razors, deodorants, soda, and condiments.
I got these bikini razors for absolutely nothing. This is all my baby formula right here.
And here is where all of the lies and crimes come in. A lot of the time, the cashier will have to override the system to bypass the coupon's restrictions because coupons have restrictions and limits. But a lot of the time, the store goes along with it, breaking couponing rules so they can create good entertainment. Coupon fraud is a thing, and multiple people on the show have been caught doing it. Joel, another coupon kid, used fake coupons, which Jill Cataldo, a money-saving columnist blogger, had written about. Joel, a minor, was encouraged to break the law and use fake coupons to create this incredible for TV trip. And we know from the show's history that there's already very little reality in this show. TLC and extreme couponing are not only promoting a criminal act, they're profiting from it. Okay, I have like 7 coupons here. I'm gonna stack 15 of these, even though the limit's 1 per customer. The camera's like, here's, so you're gonna take it. Kid, why don't you buy one and get one out of here? Taldo sent the Coupon Information Corporation screenshots of Joel's sussy-looking coupons, which they confirmed were indeed counterfeit. The coupon kid kept getting away with it until the manufacturer received the coupons. You see, coupons and sales are usually promotions run by the manufacturer, so the stores will take a loss and then later be reimbursed by the manufacturer. After taking a loss filming this show, the grocery store tried to contact TLC's producers for reimbursement, but apparently Joel's mother would be held responsible and be forced to pay back the store. Cataldo was even open for Joel to comment on her accusation, and he responded, "Due to my current agreement with TLC, I cannot release a statement for an interview." Then another star, the coupon diva, got caught doing coupon fraud. Dustin Smith, the vice president of communications for TLC, released this statement. "Any questions about specific strategies that have been brought up, we're looking into them. We're taking any concerns seriously, and we're researching the specific allegations." So basically nothing happened, though extreme couponing is no longer running. So to finish out this video, we're gonna crank the energy up to 11 with an unconventional iceberg chart, charting the weirdest things lurking in the depths of TLC's waters. From 90 Day Fiancé's toxic couples to the exploitation of children on toddlers and tiaras, and even the rise and fall of such figures like Honey Boo Boo, TLC is one of the most storied and controversial written channels on cable.
Jay, do you think that you can be in a monogamous relationship with Ashley?
Going through this topic, clicking link after link, not even the cake boss, Buddy Velastro, is innocent. You may think his crazy cakes are wholesome, but he's just crazy and has been quoted as saying, "You can't arrest me, I'm the cake boss." TLC has ruined lives, lied to its audience, and had to respond to some of the most ridiculous controversies any TV channel has had to respond to.
Our relationship is I experience SSA, or same-sex attraction.
Not gay. He said, I think you need to know that I'm attracted to men. I don't identify my husband as being gay either.
So today we're gonna be excavating the TLC iceberg. From TLC's greatest hits, biggest controversies, favorite genre of shows, and their most embarrassing flops and oddities.
Sacrifices that I made to love you.
In Layer 1, we're first going to explore TLC's biggest hits from the last few years, starting with 90 Day Fiancé, which seems to be TLC's biggest IP and possibly their most successful franchise. The series follows the lives of an American citizen in a long-distance relationship with an international partner. The couples have applied for a K-1 visa, which gives them 90 days to decide if they want to tie the knot, or if it doesn't work out, their partners are supposed to leave the country. There's a lot of drama in the fact these people are only really getting to know each other for the first time during filming. I imagine it takes a certain kind of person to say yes to going on a show like this, but there's so much tension because there's a lot of consequences if the relationship doesn't work out.
I will get your ass deported because you're a user.
Like Larissa and Colt just hate each other from moment one. Larissa expects Las Vegas to be this huge metropolitan city like New York and is immediately upset about the reality of it. She fights with Colt's mom the entire time and he's just in the middle of it because they live with his mom, which is not only cool, but really fucking cool because it creates moments like this.
Larissa and I have had our differences. She's a bitch.
However, my favorite part has to be the tell-all at the end of the season where all the couples actually meet each other for the first time, and none of them are afraid to let each other know what they think about each other.
Tell us what you want. Look at your hands, your body, it's teeny. Okay. Stop it.
I want to hear.
Larissa and Colt come onto the reunion special late.
Jonathan, I don't know you, sir, and I don't care anything about you.
And
But on
same
more
for
than
me,
one
buddy.
occasion, be quiet, please.
No, are you kidding me?
Jay over here was just getting on for cheating on his new wife via Tinder, but now he gets to on Larissa and Colt to make himself feel better.
Let's calm down.
Yeah, we
for
should
Beth.
definitely take a break. I've been here 12 hours and then they come with this. Like, bruh, she's dumb.
But people on this show have described some of it as being 80% fake, with the producers enticing the characters to do things for dramatic effect. Like in one episode, a producer asked this one guy to ask another guy's wife for a massage, all for the camera.
I like to get massages. I like Thai massage. So is that something that you would be cool to, volunteer to give me a massage or something by the pool? Or
Do you think they're cool after the camera turns off? But sometimes the couples disagree on whether or not the events transpired were truthful. Like Jay insists that Tinder cheating scandal was all made up, but his ex Ashley still talks about it like she was cheated on. So maybe Jay is just trying to save face, or maybe Ashley doesn't want to break a contract. But the wildest thing about 90 Day Fiancé is the face of the show, Big Ed, has never actually been on the main show. He's only been in like all of the spin-offs.
I found out that mayonnaise makes it smoother. I'm self-conscious.
We've all at least seen him on the internet. He is hopelessly desperate for love, and his 90-day journey started with Rose on Before the 90 Days Season 4, one of the many spin-offs where the couples meet before they apply for the K-1 visa.
You're my best view.
Me.
I mean
You're
it.
so sweet.
He's so hopeless, saying out-of-pocket like telling her she has bad breath and getting upset when she's angry about it. So hopeless. Ed tells Rose he wants kids just like she does, then goes to the Philippines, and after a few days of meeting her, he mentions he doesn't actually want kids. In fact, he's getting a vasectomy.
It's a snip.
He came into this just hoping to change her mind about this fundamental life choice. So she leaves him without saying goodbye, which is fair because that's just a horrible way to start a relationship.
It just hit me.
He's so hopeless. Then he would reprise his role on 90 Days The Single Life, another spinoff where he met Liz, and it didn't work out for him there either.
Tell me you're not gonna marry me. I don't need the ring. Go return it, please.
I'm happy to leave. Now, I don't get to be with Liz. Now, now.
Oh my God, no.
Now I'm really, I have my dogs.
Ow.
Everyone has opinions on Big Ed and Liz, even Colt's mom.
You have no right to give advice, dude. You are about the lowest life you can't even know.
Who says that Ed can only love himself?
This guy's a 20-year-old. You don't care about how you feel about somebody. Put in the mayonnaise in your hair.
You're not supposed to talk about mayonnaise.
F you. Oh, my God. Oh, shut up.
I think you're too close.
You don't know shit.
On another season of The Single Life, Ed meets Kaori, and since the third time's supposed to be the charm, he is insistent on marrying her, which makes her uncomfortable. They basically just met.
Well, can I say something?
No puedes guardar silencio.
So she ghosts him too.
She ghosted me?
So hopeless. I feel like everybody knows Buddy the cake boss. He and his family make fantastical cakes, like big pizza cakes, big cheese cakes, big taco cakes, or big hot dog cakes. These thick layers of decorative fondants just to get a crumb of Rice Krispie treats? I thought he was supposed to be the cake boss. It's like the forerunner of those memes where just a little bit of cake is surrounded by all this decorative fondant and it looks like another object, but you know it tastes awful. Oh shit, Buddy forgot to wash the buttercream off his fingers. It's okay, they have a backup, a sheet cake for the guests. They usually have a backup that considers how inedible all of this fondant hell looks like. And yes, I meant it. After getting arrested for a DUI, cake boss Buddy Velostro was quoted as saying to the arresting officer, "You can't arrest me, I'm the cake boss." He pleaded guilty because he was. He wanted to make it right. He paid a $300 fine and received a 90-day suspension on his driver's license. He really pulled a "do you know who I am?" which I have to admit I will do one time in my life, but not right now. Now we need a show called Cake Boss 90-Day Suspension. Toddlers and Tiaras is about families in the children's beauty pageant world, and it raised a lot of eyebrows during its 9-year run, with the events covered in the show often being accused of sexualizing children. With all the exploitation on the channel, it's a real shame that often children were placed in front of TLC's cameras to be leered at by the entire world. This is one of those shows I'm not going to watch. But I did scan a ton of the media coverage surrounding the show, and I found this one article by Slate magazine to be really poignant into describing the world surrounding the show. It involves a custody battle between one of the star's parents. The court-appointed psychologist described the child's involvement in the show as both premature sexualization and emotionally damaging. The mom in the situation stated a judge using her participation in the show as a reason to take custody away was, quote, violating her First Amendment rights. This is weird and fortunately was canceled a few years ago, but arguably the show's biggest spinoff made more of an impact. Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. Here Comes Honey Boo Boo followed the self-described redneck lifestyle of a sassy pageant girl named Alana Thompson, better known as Honey Boo Boo, along with her family members including Mama June.
Who won't be calling me, Jahada Hood or whatever, Jada, whatever, Jahuda, whatever.
Feels like the TLC Avengers are finally coming together. This kid was hyped up on Mountain Dew and Red Bull like all the time, and basically took America by storm, being at the center of media attention.
They asked Mitt Romney if he preferred Snooki or Honey Boo Boo.
Honey Boo Boo or Snooki?
I'm kind of a Snooki fan.
So now I have to ask you, who are you going to support for president? Mitt Romney or Barack Obama?
Barack Obama.
Just the other day, Honey Boo Boo endorsed me.
People loved them and loved to make fun of them to the point of obsession.
So that's a big relief.
The criticism surrounding the family reached critical mass when Mama June began dating a registered sex offender who had been convicted because of a crime committed against her other daughter, Anna. A really horrific situation. Got even scarier when she confessed to Entertainment Weekly that the father of her two daughters was caught on To Catch a Predator in 2005. TLC first responded to this controversy by first offering Anna counseling, but ultimately they canceled the show. I think The Hollywood Reporter really had some foresight on the whole situation 2 years before the show's cancellation. You know the show is exploitation. TLC knows it. Maybe even Mama and Honey Boo Boo know it. Deep down in their rotund bodies. Does that last comment really help the situation? Here Comes Honey Boo Boo is a car crash, and everybody rubbernecks at a car crash, right? It's human nature. Human nature comes with the capacity to draw a line, to hold fast against the dehumanization and incremental tearing down of social fabric. Since the cancellation, the family has been put back on reality TV with the series Mama June, From Not to Hot, which was initially about her weight loss journey. But after some more trouble, the show was rebranded to Mama June from Not to Hot Family Crisis before its more recent title, Mama June Road to Redemption. Needless to say, it doesn't seem like the reintroduction of the reality TV life has been very helpful to this family. We discussed Breaking Amish's deceitful documentation of Amish and Mennonite people leaving their communities and experiencing the modern world for the first time. Despite the program being exposed as largely fake, the main cast would do something crazy and return to Amish, a spin-off that has run for 7 years. The show introduces a ton of new characters and tries to be a little bit more honest about how aware the Amish are of the English or modern world.
Oh my goodness, look at that. What is that stuff?
Like a lot of different kinds of milk and stuff, doesn't it?
I watched the latest completed season, Return to Amish Season 6, which centers around 2 new ex-Amish girls, Rosanna and Maureen, traveling down to Sarasota, Florida to stay in Maureen's grandmother's safe house where other ex-Amish people stay, such as Sabrina and Jeremiah, who appeared in the original series. So I was not expecting to receive a DM from somebody who worked on the production side of Return to Amish. They expressed interest in answering any questions I may have, and oh boy, I had questions. Respectfully, I'm gonna be keeping their name and position anonymous, but I know they're credible because they appeared in the show. And according to them, it's still fake as f. Quote, at the time of filming, the entire cast was seemingly not following any Mennonite rules except when on camera. I'd say it's like 10% real, 60% dramatizations of things that have already occurred, and 30% totally fake. This is from my own experience though. The major plot points were pretty much all planned out. The edits seemed true to the people I met, the relationships themselves were all real, but all the real stuff happened off camera. For example, Maureen and Danny, her boyfriend, filmed their first kiss when they'd been dating for over a year by that point. The kiss is so long and so awkward. I've left it unedited, except for one thing. This doesn't surprise me at all, considering Abe and Rebecca fell in love on screen during Breaking Amish, but in real life, they were already married with kids. It's a lot more reliable way to tell a love story on reality TV than expecting your cast members to fall in love with each other. This whole reenact it until you have to fake it routine was something the older cast members had become accustomed to, but something the newer cast members needed to be coached on a little bit more. All to be TV ready. Quote, they would need a little more time to get what the producers wanted than the veteran characters like Ada, who knew exactly what to say. Basically, they would be given a rundown of the scene once we got to a location. They would not know where they were going or what they were doing until the day of. From there, they would just go along with the scene as if they were doing it naturally, but the producer would tell them if they wanted specific lines or moments. The finale was completely fake, including the proposal between Maureen and Danny. When it's all laid out like this, it becomes so apparent that all of the shows are made like this. I was even told that typically one-off characters like employees at a store or a random passerby that is interviewed would be played by crew members, which is how my contact was able to verify their story. Not only were all of the locations fake, but they weren't even filming in the same state the show takes place in. Absolutely none of that is surprising, and I was informed that in general, the production was a show, which often came from producer disagreement or the process of the producers having to convince the actors with going along with scenes they don't want to go along with. According to my inside scoop, the producers spent a lot of time convincing Jeremiah to do a proposal with his girlfriend Carmela, even though neither of them was having it. Imagine your job coercing you to make major life decisions like this. By all means, the audience being lied to is not the most harmful part of this stuff. I would like to add that since Breaking Amish Season 6, Carmela has filed for a restraining order against Jeremiah. So it's really good they didn't go through with the fucking marriage. I was a little horrified by how mismanaged the production was, as was the rest of the crew, many of which would quit for that reason and be replaced. When asking about whether or not specific moments were faked, I had to ask about Rosanna's panic attack, but instead of saying it was all acted, my source had a different take on the situation. I was not there for Rosanna's panic attack. In hindsight, I am not at all surprised that that had happened. The days were very, very long, and there was no form of counseling or support from TLC. Another moment described to me that I'll be a little bit more vague about involved one of the girls being pressured into wearing a two-piece bathing suit. She was uncomfortable in having to do this because she was on her period. And the producers, who were mostly male, treated the entire situation as a major inconvenience. I want to reiterate, they would have no idea where they were filming or what they would be doing every day. On this moment, my source did say, I knew reality TV was bad, but that was kind of my wake-up call to say, these people. I think companies like TLC really need to be held more accountable for how awful their work environment is. I want to thank our inside informant for taking the time to write to us. Being able to get the behind the scenes perspective really helps to highlight that these are real people's lives that are being f***ed with. Moving on to Layer 2, we're gonna dive into TLC's catalog of shows about relationships, romance, and dating shows. Granted, a lot of them are quirky, like Extreme Cougar Wives, a show featuring older women dating younger men. And they're extreme. This one woman looks like a supervillain.
But if I see a man that turns me on, I get.
In this year, TLC took the Cougar Wife concept and said, well, let's get the whole family involved. Introducing Milk Manor. MILF Manor. Mummy, Return of the Dragon Emperor.
That's my mom right there.
I know one mother I don't want to f***, but they make it so uncomfortable considering they do all these sexual themed challenges around each other. A new mom and son arrive a few days in and he does an oral demonstration right in front of his mom. I'm about to demonstrate how to kill and I'm about to demonstrate how to go to sleep forever. The best dynamic is between Kelly, aka Disco Mommy, self-proclaimed Disco Mommy, and her son, Joey. At 20 years old, he's the youngest contestant and he's so embarrassed about his mother's free-natured spirit. But he thinks his mom is so funny. He can't get over the fact that she was the MILF of the manor the whole time.
Joey, which one's your mom? Yeah. Really want me to point her out? It's pretty obvious.
Like, hey guy, want to go to MILF Manor? It's your mother. The mother and son sleep in the same suite and talk at the end of the day, which would be wholesome under other circumstances, though it is funny to watch their reactions as to who they're interested in.
You said, come up here, Mom.
The second room on the left.
The second room on the left. Oh my God, you gotta be joking.
Like, his mom is the Disco Mommy. He has no choice but to just laugh it off and say, all right, dude, I'll see you at the gym tomorrow. But every time one of their sons tries to f the Disco Mommy, they're horrified and they just have to learn to get over it. It's the ultimate ironic consequence for choosing to go on this show in the first place. They realize the mistake they made as soon as they see their family. The uncomfortable quality is its worst quality, but it's the only reason why it's interesting at all. In the show Love at First Kiss, TLC throws a bone at people who have never kissed anyone before. This dude, he comes in and he has no idea what to do, but still he's all brass tacks.
Can I kiss you?
Sure.
He messes it up so badly, they have to bring in a kissing coach.
I'm an amateur kissing coach.
Okay. I had no idea there was such thing as a kissing coach.
I didn't either. After a little practice, he gets back in there, once again getting right to business.
Can I kiss you?
But having done his homework, he's given a little confidence. And with explicit approval, he gets a solid make-out session with a new person. Then they have a date. It's never too late for anyone out there. Have you thought about being kind today? Similarly themed is the show Virgin Coaches, starring Bill and Janine, who coach Christian couples who've saved themselves for marriage and are not yet cohabitating. They learn about the realities of living each other and, more salaciously, the realities of sex.
Shock them into taking this weekend serious.
We are going to do something pretty radical.
What are they talking about? Are they gonna right here and now?
Flesh of my flesh.
Get in there, coach. Hey, I've read the Bible. It's Adam and Eve, not Bill and Janine. Get yourselves out of the story. Next up, we have a program that caused quite a stir. My husband is not gay, but the audience has all agreed he seemed pretty gay.
I don't feel like I fit the mold of guys that are attracted to other men, other than my deep and abiding love for Broadway show tunes and the attraction to males. Those are the two things that are kind of gay about me.
This show is centered around hetero Mormon couples where the man has rejected and acknowledged attraction to men and adopting the term same-sex attracted rather than gay because there's nothing happy about this situation. That's why they have to vent on TV. This one guy has a danger scale. That's right, a danger scale. He says some guys are really hot, but he can't look at them more than once because looking more than once is dangerous and tempting. And I think his take on what he's being tempted to do speaks on why this is a bad idea.
I was drugged and forgot I was married to you, and I was in a back alley and, well, in some dark corner with romantic music. Would anything happen? That's the danger scale.
Why do you fantasize about that happening? Find happiness. Please. Tom is the single SSA in the group, and all his buddies set him up on a date with a woman.
You grew up with dogs?
Kind of, yeah.
What kind?
A wiener dog.
That's a very appropriate one.
That's the kind of dog you should get, Tom.
I think all of his friends just want him to be happy with who he is. Hear Me, Love Me, See Me feels like a show that should have aired during COVID, but miraculously happened before any of that. It features a woman sitting on a couch as she watches 3 guys with a GoPro strapped to their bodies so she can hear them, fall for them, and finally see them for the very first time. This was supposed to be TLC's fun twist on like online dating where, you know, you see the person and you judge them automatically. It's like the opposite of Tinder. But then when the guy walks out, you could tell they're just not into them. It's a bummer. But like, it's okay to be attracted to the person you're with. He wouldn't want to be with somebody he doesn't find very attractive.
I'm shorter than her, and I'm shorter than the other 2 guys. Those ducks that I fed today, those guys can't compete with that.
This short king is angry the whole finale. He thought if she couldn't see how small he was, he'd win. But what he doesn't know is when you're tall, you can hear shortness. The show You, Me, and My Ex is about a bunch of people who just need to get their together off of TV.
My ex-husband's sperm is in my wife.
Playa. I guess they needed some sperm they can trust, but okay. But then he starts demanding that kid call him dad. His ex-wife's new wife is pregnant with his sperm and he thinks he's gonna be a parent in that situation. They asked the wrong person. Can't donate your sperm and then expect all of those people to call you dad. So yeah, this woman's gay best friend became her wife, but she still hangs out with her ex-husband, and this psycho 54-year-old man invites his young girlfriend to come live with him, his ex-wife, and all of his children during the peak of COVID, and he makes her sleep in their closet. This show is wild, and these people definitely need to get their together unless they love being on TLC. In that case, keep up the good work. Okay, hot and heavy. This show is about big women and their small guys. We have this sweet woman trying to get fit and feel good about herself, but Rusty, her asshat of a husband, doesn't want his wife to lose weight.
I don't want her to change. I don't want Kristen to be any smaller. Matter of fact, I wouldn't mind if she was a little bit bigger.
And not just in a like, you're beautiful the way you are, I support you kind of way, but because he thinks it'll make her more attractive to other men and that threatens him. That is f***ed up on like 500 levels.
He's very good looking. He's like a pretty boy.
What is it? He tries to f*** up her weight loss journey by putting whipped cream and chocolate sauce all over his titties.
I'm having this surgery so we can have a baby. And look at you, like this is absurd. Like you're not supporting me.
What am I supposed to do?
Not this, my guy. Literally anything else. Have you tried being kind today?
I do it because I love you.
No, you just want to keep me fat.
In Layer 3, we'll be talking about shows that have examined family life. Arguably, TLC as it is today was built on the many shows about unique families, which first exploded into popularity with the show John and Kate Plus 8, a couple and their children, 2 twins and 6 sextuplets. John and Kate Gosselin's show and destructive breakup were heavily capitalized on, and it changed the channel forever. They saw a whole family blow up on TV and said, let's do it again. Over the years, there's been 7 little Johnstons, doubling down with the Derricos, who have 14 kids. Outdaughtered, they have so many daughters. Sweet Home Sextuplets, the blended bunch, they'll cast anyone. Which inevitably leads to the cancellation of shows like The Willis Family and 19 Kids and Counting, because cast members children. With so many people being tapped to suddenly become stars, it only feels inevitable that some of them would have committed some heinous crimes. They cast a very wide net. It's not a huge family show, but Gypsy Sisters was canceled too because one cast member killed another's dog. This sucks, and in my mind, there's no doubt the attention these shows has brought on to these people have not helped the situation, making it more difficult to move on from these tragedies. Anyways, here's a quote from a Variety issue with the TLC chief Howard Lee for absolutely no reason. I don't agree when I read that someone says our shows go too far. We only cast people who want to really outright wear their hearts on their sleeves, and often their lives can be messy, and that's real. Going through their entire history of family shows, it never feels like the attention was good for the family. Anyways, welcome to Plathville's about the Plath family who live in rural Georgia and are non-denominational Christians. Kim and Barry, the parents, decided that the best thing for their children was to raise them detached from the modern world.
They know what a Coke is,
but they don't know what a Coke is. Can you believe that?
That means no Coca-Cola, no rock and roll, no Spider-Man, but all the kids, they disagree about being prohibited from all of these things. So we get to watch on TV as this family is torn apart. Isn't that just swell? And now the parents are getting divorced. This just ended like all the other shows. Why am I even talking about it? Next, Sister Wives, which spawned a whole slew of copycat shows about polygamists and polyandrists, as in a single wife or husband with multiple other wives or husbands. Sister Wives has been airing on TLC since 2010 and tells the story of Cody and his 4 wives and their 11 kids, who all deal with the struggles of sharing one partner and one father.
She's a sister from the same mister, and he's a brother from another mother.
In the United States, there are no legal unions between multiple partners, so a lot of the drama comes from who is legally married to Cody and who's just spiritually married within their religion. Cody's wives are friendly, but they don't all love each other equally. But Cody says love is not what's important to him. He needs to be respected.
His love doesn't matter to me. Respect matters to me.
Doesn't really seem like the relationship on any of these shows functioned too well. The idea that all these women put up with this one dude's BS is wild. He's a wiener. That's how I describe him. Oh, but he calls himself the high priest.
I am the high priest of my own family. But
Cody has problems communicating with each one of his wives, let alone all 4.
the sacrifices that I made to love you. You're like, I'm divorced. I'm leaving. I'm done with you. Man, just the knife in the kidneys over all these years. And that's the reason I'm pissed off.
And I'm left feeling sad that these people would enter this situation because of how they were raised. But guess what? Literally 3 of his 4 wives left him at once. They finally found something to agree on, and holy this show also ended like all of the other ones. Why are we even talking about it? The next season of Sister Wives is going to be called Me and My Wife. A lot of these family shows attempt to create an air of inclusiveness, such as Little People, Big World, a show about a family of little people. While reactions to these types of shows have been more skeptical in recent years, TLC used to get a lot of credit for trying to shed light and normalize all sorts of different people. However, if you want to understand how performative this all is, all you have to do is look at the story of All American Muslim, which follows 5 Islamic families living in Dearborn, Michigan. The show aired in 2011 and ran for only 1 season due to backlash and advertisers pulling out. The Florida Family Association, in their appeal to the program's advertisers, expressed that TLC was spreading propaganda by excluding extremists. The campaign persuaded Lowe's to pull their advertisements from All American Muslim, stating on Facebook that individuals and groups have strong political and societal views on this topic, and this program became a lightning rod for many of those views. As a result, we did pull our advertising out of this program. We believe it is best to respectfully defer to communities, individuals, and groups to discuss and consider such issues of importance. And TLC responded to Lowe's by canceling the show after 1 advertiser boycotted it. Just 1. It feels performative. Therefore, TLC loves to do medical themed shows, such as Dr. Pimple Popper, who got her career started on YouTube. So it's always great to see fellow creators popping off. TLC features a lot of shows about people living with extreme obesity. My 600-Pound Life started in 2012 and has been running for 11 seasons. Patients turn to doctor now for life-changing gastric bypass surgery. People have actually had success losing weight on this show, truly transforming their bodies back to where they can feel independent again. Though hardship has also affected a lot of the cast members. Some have died during their journey, while others have accused TLC of not sticking to the agreed aid they would be receiving to help their journey. More recently though, TLC has aired 1,000-Pound Sisters, which follows 2 very overweight sisters. To me, the most powerful part of documentary is revealing universal human traits in different scenarios. But despite the air of mistruth on a lot of these TLC shows, I'd be lying to say that sometimes the humanity absolutely slips through. Like when Tammy says this to Amy.
Try being my size, Amy. You don't know how it is. Baby, you're a baby. No, you're
I just want to reach through the camera and say, stop it. You're in this together.
I've been grown. I pay my bills. My bills are paid.
Sometimes I'm Tammy and Other times, I'm Amy. I'm either trying to reach somebody or I can't be reached. If I were to take time and list out all the pregnancy shows TLC has aired, we'd be here all day. The show I didn't know I was pregnant.
I think I just had a baby.
The most cracked program they've ever aired, though, is Labor Games, a game show where they surprise women in labor. I mean, they might as well be on a game show while they wait.
Welcome to Labor Games. Get the question right and you may receive a new mountain bike or perhaps an Xbox 360 courtesy of Microsoft. What do we have to give you to make your baby seem uncool? We want you to go home and show everybody your brand new pair of AirPods.
Untold Stories of the ER is just like Sex Sent Me to the ER, which I talked about in the last video, but with a lot more fake blood. So if you don't like that stuff, please skip ahead. I can't have you passing out and ending up on this show. It would be too over the top. This show just wants to be a medical sitcom so badly. Even the doctors and nurses have their own little storylines. The nurse bought a swimsuit because she's going to the beach later, but is interrupted when a guy is rushing in on a boat with a shark clamping onto his inner thigh at the ER.
It is dead, isn't it?
No, and we can't let it die. I'm an oceanography student. These sharks are amazing creatures.
He's losing so much blood, but all of these marine biologists want to make sure the shark has enough water to survive. He makes the nurse get bundles of saline and pop them into the boat for the little shark.
But the one thing we were not expecting was for the patient to regain consciousness.
Now the nurse doesn't even want to go to the beach anymore. She's had enough of the ocean today.
Oh, no more beach for me. I returned those bathing suits, so I'm going hiking this summer.
Good call.
A little full circle with the story there. Now we arrive at the final layer for today, TLC's Flops and Oddities. Shows that barely made it past a season, or that are just so weird. TLC really shoots for any idea that comes across their board. They even had a ripoff of Pawn Stars called Pawn Queens. It only ran for one season. Then sometimes they try to make a show with a celebrity, like Sarah Palin's Alaska, the former governor of Alaska, Sarah Palin, but she determined the show might hurt her political career and decided to leave. I wonder how that's going for her. I'm sure a lot of you have no scrubs playing in your head every single time I mention TLC, and my jaw dropped when I heard what Totally T-Boz was about. This show is about the lead singer of TLC, Tion Watkins, after the years of hardship she faced following the end of TLC, her band. Finally, TLC and TLC collabing together at last. Now Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic the fast food chain need to collaborate, like a chili dog thing. They've never done that. Did you know Cracker Barrel the restaurant and Cracker Barrel cheese aren't the same company either? Like, they could do something together. In the early days of TLC, the channel aired Forensics Files, yet true crime has never really found a strong home at TLC. Plenty of shows have followed cops around to document their interactions with the community. TLC tried doing this with their show DUI, where they capture people under the influence and follow their legal cases after their arrest, but it didn't really catch on. Same goes for their other cop shows, their cop show franchise, Police Women. But the one show I had to check out was Mall of America Cops, because I have family in Minnesota and I grew up going to this mall every other summer. Paul is blarting it up in the Mall of America as they deal with possible explosives in an abandoned suitcase, the Handbag Mafia, Sarah Palin there for a book signing, crossover episode, and crowd controlling a Demi Lovato signing who doesn't even know they were filming a TV show. I wish they would remake this with modern TLC sensibilities so there could be like cute little character stories every episode. TLC has also never really been a home to like paranormal ghost hunting shows, except for the show Kindred Spirits. There are so many ghost shows as it is. Kindred Spirits to me easily disappears within the crowd, yet somehow it's been going for 7 seasons. The two hosts just have really weird chemistry. It seems like one of them is in charge and the other one has already made a few too many mistakes.
Megan now?
Yeah, okay. That wasn't me talking.
No.
That wasn't you talking. I would never say no to you.
No.
What's the story there? You can say no to your friends. He wasn't afraid of the ghost. He was afraid the ghost would make her mad at him. Another character joins later in the series named Chip, a psychic medium. He's blinded in this one episode and sits in a jail cell trying to communicate with spirits, giving a whole performance.
I don't even want to open my eyes. Where is this?
Solitary confinement.
sorry.
No, Chip, I hate this.
Just so you know, we talked more about Chip Coffey in our video about TV psychics, and he's actually a little more interesting than we make him out to be here, so check it out. I've seen a lot of ghost shows, and this is definitely one of the more boring ones out there, even with Chip giving it his all. Every single time any of these characters are on screen with each other, it feels like they're trying to one-up each other with how many paranormal experiences they've had within the episode.
Want to say what I just saw on the floor?
Wait, you saw something on the floor? Where?
Right down there. I'm not even kidding.
I just saw a shadow figure.
Like, chill, y'all, you're ruining the suspense. Okay, so My Secret Job feels like another show where people are just f***ing with TLC. It's just about people who have secret weird jobs.
Don't forget to hop over and get underneath that ottoman real good.
This one woman sells her breast milk and her husband markets it.
Give me some money for some breast milk.
Her husband keeps referring to her as a cash cow.
I've got to keep my cash cow going.
He sets up this breast milk deal with a bodybuilder who's trying to get some gains with breast milk. He insists he needs it for the particular diet he's on, but that's f***ing bull. You're f***ed up, dude, and you're driving up all the prices for the mothers. You can grow your big ass milkers with some whey protein, I promise. I discussed my strange addiction and my crazy obsession in the last video, but sometimes I feel like people just go on this show to f with TLC. Like one time, this woman named Trisha Paytas was on the show saying she had an addiction to tanning.
Everyone is gonna die. I'm just gonna die extremely hot.
I wonder what happened to her. Like, I love this one kid who is obsessed with collecting fans. Definitely one of the more earnest episodes. He has so many fans, and despite being like 10 years old,
I'm the king of the fans!
he's had a lifelong quest to find his favorite fan from when he was an infant. This kid is awesome. Definitely going places. Similarly, there's also Freaky Eaters, which features people with food sensory issues. Like, this guy can only eat a dump truck of cheeseburgers. It has to be that many. I don't know, I skimmed over it. But in a parallel world to that show is Extreme Cheapskates. This show follows people so frugal they've just disconnected from life. Like this guy who puts cornstarch all over his body to cool off so he doesn't have to spend money on air conditioning, or a self-proclaimed millionaire peeing in a jar to save money on water. They save literal cents by doing all of this weird shit. So eventually you have to ask, is this really about saving money, or do you just want to pee in a jar?
Quite pungent.
Some cheapskates eat out of the trash or boil up some weeds and roadkill for dinner. A lot of it is gross, and a lot of the time people are accusing these families of abusing their children with certain cheap methods. But I just don't believe it.
I can see myself in the plate.
In one episode, this woman's husband begs her to let him have the guys over to watch the game, but she's concerned about the electric bill and spending money on snacks. But nonetheless, she makes them all a lasagna in the dishwasher. That's enough of this fucking shit. And just like extreme couponing, of course, this show has also been accused of being fake as well. Melody Rose Gravitt, or the hillbilly cheapskate, explained to her local newspaper that they made her family seem like she was using newspaper as toilet paper, which was just not the case. It's not real, which makes you question all of the other ridiculous things that people do in this show. She described the end product as 90% untrue. Now we have the third failed entry in the Extreme series. We had Extreme Couponers, Extreme Cheapskates, and now Extreme Time Cheaters. This is so stupid. These are people who try to save time in their daily routine by multitasking in insane ways, like shaving their legs in the pool, like using the bottom of a hot coffee pot to iron your clothes, or
I eat fiber supplements so I can go number 2 as fast as I go number 1.
But this guy, he's too much. He blends all of his food because he has no time to chew. Look at him. No chill at all. Take a breath, guy. His sister sets him up with a date because she thinks he's a great guy. I mean, he helps out orphans and whatnot, but man is on a tight schedule, so he times his dates. He rushes by ordering all the food at once, and then he asks his date if he could feed her.
Let me feed you there.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Do you really think you can make her eat faster by doing that?
Can I get these blended?
Blended?
He just sucks down his salad. The date does not end the way he expected it to.
All I want to do is find a woman that will one day tolerate me. Not love me, just tolerate me.
Am I getting sucked into the drama of a TLC show knowing it's fake? All right, best funeral ever only lasted for a season and a half starting in 2013. The Golden Gate Funeral Home in Texas provides its services to families who want to celebrate their past loved ones by throwing a themed funeral. The family of gold medal Olympian Ronnie Ray Smith wanted to celebrate him by throwing a track meet where he can run one last time. Golden Gate figures out how they can make it happen for him. How does one make a coffin go fast? Put it on a go-kart, of course. I do think this show is fun. It's showcasing these going home celebrations, which really is just a fun, spirited way to honor a loved one who has passed away. It's one of the more wholesome and ridiculous shows at the same time. All right, here we are at the very bottom. Honey, we're killing the kids. Originally, this show was a BBC Three series, but was adapted for American audiences in 2007 on TLC. Before TLC became a reality show hellscape, they had a trouble figuring out their identity, and this show really exemplifies that. Different specialists like Dr. Melfi and her crew show parents a Photoshop prediction of what their children will look like in adulthood if they keep raising them the way they are. They try to integrate healthy eating habits for the family to apply, but I just feel so bad for the kids' likeness being all up like that. Like, if I saw that at 9 years old, I would have some deep-rooted issues, especially as I grew up to look like that. This show would permanently kill anyone's self-esteem. It's a core memory for every child who is on it, I guarantee. TLC, making core memories for children since its beginning.
Well, I hope you learned something today, even if it makes you feel so awful to know it. It's hard to believe that all this exploitative content exists because a program that was created genuinely with an intention to help the underprivileged was acquired by a corporation and mutated by pure greed. I never knew that could happen. But remember, even if you think things are bad, that doesn't mean they have to be that way. The only way to ensure a better future is to be optimistic for tomorrow. And as always, it's a good practice to like, subscribe, comment down below, and join our channel membership if you can. No worries if you can't. See ya!